My name is Roger Johnson. I like taking pictures and I love to travel. Whether it's working as a professional tour guide, a flight attendant, or on my own for fun. Across America or around the world. This is my show. Hello and welcome once again to another exciting Welcome to America Adventure Update. I am Roger Johnson. It is April 2013. You can tell that it's April because it's still snowing outside. It's actually later in the month. It's the 22nd of April and we still have snow. What we don't have is a guest. I was hoping to have my friend Ashley in this month to talk about our exciting adventure to Isle Royale last year, but she's moving at the end of the month and things didn't quite work out, so she couldn't be here today. The other problem is, like myself, she's a flight attendant, and you're only home about maybe 10 to 15 days a month, and my 10 to 15 days were not the same as her 10 to 15 days, and so we couldn't quite make schedules work out. Maybe next month. But the good part about being a flight attendant is that you get to travel and do cool things. Normally when I'm off doing cool things while traveling as a flight attendant, I'll get maybe, at the most, you get about 20 hours. You get in early afternoon and then you have the rest of the afternoon you can do something cool. And then you have to leave again first thing the next day. Twice within the last 6 months I've had 36-hour overnights. Long enough where you fly in, you have the whole next day, and then you fly out on the third day. Plenty of time to go do something. So I was going to do just that. My first one was on December 12th, 2012, last year. 12/12/12. I was in New Orleans, so what better place to go than the Battle of New Orleans from the War of 1812. So I headed downtown and I went through by the French Quarter and saw all that cool stuff that there is to see. Saw some jazz. Headed down to the dock to where the boat was going to take me out, down to the battlefield. They canceled on me. I got a phone call. Actually, they left a message, but I listened to my message and they said, sorry, not enough people are interested in the War of 1812, Battle of New Orleans. What is it? The Chalmette Battlefield. I don't know how to pronounce it because I'm terrible with French pronunciations. There's plenty of other things to see in New Orleans, and of course, Louisiana was part of the Confederacy during the Civil War. So they've got a giant monument to Robert E. Lee, and just a couple blocks away from there is the Confederate Memorial Hall Museum. It is a very cool museum. Unfortunately, they don't allow photography or videotaping, so I had to settle for just looking at it and taking it all in and remembering it for the rest of my life. Of course, one thing that you can do to always remember where you've been is you buy a souvenir. I got myself a cool Union cap. It's actually, I think it's pretty authentic relative to the one that I got at Disney World many years ago. I think it's very authentic. So I got to do that. And then now, if you remember last year on my adventure update where we went to Paris, by we I mean me, I went to Paris and I went and toured the Normandy battlefields. At the end of that adventure update I said, hey, if you can't get to France, go to New Orleans. They have what was once the D-Day Museum. It is actually now called the National World War II Museum, or National Museum of World War II, something like that. I like National D-Day Museum better, but they've expanded the scope of the museum, and they're expanding the museum itself. This is my second visit. The first time I was there, it was quite a bit smaller. Now they've got all kinds of construction and good stuff going on. The reason the museum is there, and this is kind of the cool thing, is the Higgins boats. These are the boats that they used in the D-Day landings, were actually built there. Dwight Eisenhower said of the war that the Higgins boats were one of the reasons that we won the war. So if you do get a chance to go to New Orleans, I highly recommend checking out the World War II Museum as they expand their collection and their facilities. Really cool. And they got cool souvenirs there too, but I only had enough money for one. A month later, so this was December 2012, January 12th, 2013, I had another 30-some-hour overnight. I went and I hopped on a train and I went to Ottawa, Canada's capital city. There's a canal there that goes through town, and in the wintertime it freezes over, of course, because it's Canada, and they shovel it all off and they groom it, and it is the world's longest ice skating rink. I was going to go skating, except I didn't have winter pants, and when I got there it was all slushy and I think they had freezing rain, so I didn't get to do that. Kind of cool to see it. You head down the canal and it heads into the Ottawa River. Right there where that is, up on the bluffs overlooking the river, is the Canadian Parliament building. Very cool structure. I needed to go check that out because, you know, I do state capitals and the US Capitol and all that. And since I've been to every state capital, I needed to, you know, go to the Canadian Parliament building. Take the tour. We got to see the House of Commons, the Senate chamber. And it's kind of different because, you know, when you tour the US Capitol and you're in Statuary Hall and there's Abraham Lincoln and all these, you know, famous American politicians. At the Canadian Parliament building, you look up at the wall and there's a painting of King George III.
Probably the most dominating feature of the foyer are the portraits, and these are various kings and queens of Canada.
A little unsettling, but you know, they've got like Queen Elizabeth and you know, other more recent monarchs as well. Also, you get to go into the back. It's the Library of Parliament, kind of like the Library of Congress. It's the only surviving structure, part of the structure from the original Parliament building. 1916, they had a big fire there, and the only reason the library survived is they had these great big steel doors, and somebody was smart enough to close them. And they don't look like steel; they're actually wood. Or no, they're steel, but they look like they're wood. That's what I'm trying to say. So we got to see that, and so you go through. Towards the end of the tour, you get to go up to the top of the Peace Tower. Great big clock tower on the front of the building, and you get to go up there. They're very cool views of looking out over the river and the city and everything. The Peace Tower not only is functional as a clock tower, whatnot, but it's also a memorial. Down at the base of the clock tower is the memorial chamber. You go in there and there is a, basically it's a memorial honoring the Canadian war dead over the various conflicts that Canada has fought in over the years, which leads me to the next part of my visit to Ottawa. I got to go down the street. It's about a mile or two, or I suppose in kilometers. I don't know what that would be. A few kilometers down the road here, you go to the Canadian War Museum. Very cool. Traces the whole route of Canadian history and the military aspects of that history. You go through and very cool exhibits on, you know, tanks and artillery and things from World War I and World War II, all the way through to modern times, and exhibits on Canadian forces that are peacekeeping forces in Kosovo and things like that, right up again to the very modern day, and the role that the Canadian Armed Services have played in not only their history but world history. And very cool exhibit, and I had no idea that it was there. Well worth the time. If you're ever there, obviously check out Parliament and go skating if it's winter time, which it usually is. The other cool thing, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about. Before I went to the Canadian War Museum, I stopped by. It's the Bank of Canada has a little currency museum. Hang on just one second. There we go. So it's outside. They've got the Yap stone. This is one of these giant Polynesian stone. It's like, yeah, big. It's a coin. Basically a status of wealth. But so you go inside and they've got like little drawers that you pull out, and there's different currency from I think just about every country in the world. Anyway, so this is part of my currency collection. These are every country in the world that I've been to. But this is the Canadian dollar bill that I got in 1979 or something like that, the first time we went to Canada. We drove up to Thunder Bay, and that's my souvenir from that trip. They don't make those anymore. Now they just do the gold coins. So anyway, that's it for this month's adventure update. Hopefully, maybe next month we will do the Isle Royal. If not that, we might visit with Joe Pillsbury again, talk about Disney World, or I might talk about my Hawaii trip, Delaware Hawaii trip. I don't know, we'll see whoever shows up. In the meantime, check out the website, welcometoamerica.us, the movie, 50states50days.us, Facebook pages, my Cafe Press gift shop, buy mugs or other cool souvenirs of your visit to my website. How cool would that be? So until next time, hopefully it'll be actually spring when we do that. So we will see you then.